In the 1990s, major corporations collectively torched hundreds of millions of dollars on products that seemed genius in the boardroom and bombed spectacularly in stores. We're counting down 12 of the decade's most ambitious commercial disasters, from beverages nobody wanted to drink twice, to tech that physically hurt to use, to one product that burned through over $300 million before quietly vanishing. Each promised innovation. Each became a masterclass in how ambition outruns reality. Which epic misfire claimed number one? Let's find out, starting at number 12 with a gadget that bet everything on a world already disappearing. In 12th place, the QCat barcode scanner tried to bridge the gap between print and the digital world just as that gap was about to vanish. Released in 1999, this cat-shaped USB gadget promised small businesses a plug-and-play solution for tracking inventory and linking magazine ads to websites. About 150,000 units were shipped, but the real story was what happened next. QCat's proprietary drivers clashed with most Windows setups, and point-of-sale software couldn't recognize it. Early reviews, including a 2 out of 5 from PC Magazine, called out its clunky design and unreliable scans. As smartphones with built-in cameras and barcode apps appeared, the QCat's single-purpose hardware became instantly obsolete. Within 2 years, distributors returned unsold stock, forcing a $6 million inventory write-off. The QCat stands as a lesson in how fast a platform shift can turn innovation into dead weight. One day a novelty, the next a relic. In the 11th place, the Rejuvenique face mask promised a spa-level facelift right from your living room, if you didn't mind looking like an extra from a science fiction thriller. Debuting in the late 1990s, this rigid plastic mask wrapped around the head and delivered gentle electrical pulses to facial muscles, all under the banner of erase years of wrinkles without surgery. Late-night infomercials hyped clinical-grade results in just 5 minutes a day, but the science never caught up to the spectacle. Dermatologists publicly warned that the device lacked any peer-reviewed evidence, and Consumer Reports flagged complaints of discomfort, redness, and even minor burns. There were no major FDA recalls, yet the mask quickly became infamous for its unsettling design and unproven claims. Sales spiked briefly before a flood of returns and scattered lawsuits buried the brand. The Rejuvenique saga stands as a cautionary tale. In wellness tech, trust can evaporate faster than a midnight infomercial pitch. In the 10th place, Pepsi AM tried to turn cola into a breakfast staple. Launched in the early 1990s, this clear, high-caffeine soda was pitched as the perfect morning pick-me-up for young professionals who wanted an energy boost without the calories of a latte. Pepsi rolled out a national ad campaign with slogans like, "Get up, get going, get Pepsi AM." But the idea of swapping orange juice for cola at breakfast never caught on. Critics ridiculed the concept, and late-night comedians had a field day with the notion of morning soda. Even internal Pepsi memos revealed second thoughts as sales sputtered almost immediately. Within just a few months, Pepsi AM disappeared from shelves, leaving behind a write-off worth tens of millions of dollars and a lesson in the power of cultural routines. The brief shelf life of Pepsi AM shows that even a global brand cannot force a new habit if it clashes with how people start their day. Number 9. Microsoft Bob arrived in 1995 with a promise to make personal computing as easy as chatting with a cartoon dog. For $99, users got a Windows shell where software lived inside a virtual house, navigated by grinning avatars and talking pets. The idea was to help beginners, but the execution backfired spectacularly. Bob's cartoonish interface was quickly derided as patronizing, with critics calling it a digital babysitter for adults. Underneath the whimsy, Bob struggled to run many standard Windows applications, and it demanded more hardware power than most home PCs could handle. Online forums and Usenet threads roasted the product, while press reviews mocked its clunky design and lack of real utility. Microsoft spent $30 million developing Bob, but sales were so dismal that it was pulled from shelves within a year. Bob's legacy endures as a cautionary tale. Even the friendliest user experience can flop if it underestimates its audience. Eighth place goes to Coors Rocky Mountain Sparkling Water, a product that reveals just how far brand loyalty can stretch before it snaps. In 1990, Coors tried to ride the bottled water wave, leveraging its reputation for pure Rocky Mountain brewing to launch a line of premium sparkling water. The pitch was simple. If Coors beer was famous for its mountain water, why not bottle that water and sell it straight? Focus groups, however, quickly exposed the flaw. For most shoppers, Coors meant beer, full stop. The idea of picking up a six-pack of water from the beer aisle baffled even health-conscious buyers. Marketing materials boasted that it was naturally carbonated water from the Rockies, but the association with alcohol proved too strong to shake. Despite a national advertising campaign and shelf space in major grocery chains, sales fizzled. By 1993, Coors pulled the plug, writing off millions and leaving business schools with a textbook case of brand extension gone wrong. The lesson: not every trusted logo can leap from lager to lifestyle. Number 7. Sony's MiniDisc arrived in 1992, promising to revolutionize portable audio with a rugged, re-recordable digital format. The disc itself was compact and nearly indestructible, and Sony's 8-track compression allowed for up to 80 minutes of CD-quality sound in a palm-sized package. Early adopters praised the MiniDisc's editing features and quick track access, but the format's closed ecosystem soon became its Achilles heel. High player prices, often over $350, kept casual listeners away, while a limited catalog of pre-recorded albums frustrated music fans. As CDR burners dropped in price and MP3 files began to spread across the internet, the market shifted toward open, shareable formats. By the late 1990s, annual mini-disc sales hovered around 1.2 million units worldwide, a fraction of Sony's projections. Even die-hard audiophiles couldn't save the format from obsolescence, and production quietly ended in 2005. The mini-disc story highlights a classic tech lesson: even clever engineering can't win if consumers want freedom, not fences. Number 6. Orbitz. Drink promised to turn soda into a spectacle. Launched in 1997, Orbitz looked like a science experiment in a bottle. Clear liquid with neon-colored gel beads suspended inside, floating like tiny planets. Advertisements called it the soda that dances in your glass, and for a moment curiosity swept store shelves. 2 million bottles were shipped at launch, but the excitement fizzled fast. Taste tests revealed a bland, syrupy flavor, and the chewy beads left many people baffled or unsettled. Texture complaints poured in, with some calling it drinking a lava lamp. By the end of 1998, fewer than 200,000 bottles had actually sold, and Orbitz was quietly pulled from the market. The company wrote off $12 million in losses. Orbitz stands as a classic case of novelty that dazzles on sight but fails to deliver on taste, proving that in the world of beverages, the spectacle is not enough if the sip itself falls flat. In the 5th place, Nintendo's Virtual Boy landed in 1995 as a bold leap into stereoscopic gaming, promising to bring true three-dimensional worlds to life without the need for special glasses. The concept was ahead of its time, an immersive console that let players peer into a new dimension. But the hardware itself quickly became infamous. The Virtual Boy's red and black monochrome display delivered sharp lines but left out color entirely, and the heavy tabletop headset forced players to hunch over, turning what should have been a futuristic experience into an ergonomic ordeal. Reports of eye strain, headaches, and even nausea surfaced within weeks of launch, echoed by a 3 out of 10 score in Electronic Gaming Monthly, and a chorus of user complaints on early gaming forums. Nintendo's own financial filings reveal fewer than 800,000 units shipped worldwide before the system was discontinued in 1996. The Virtual Boy stands as a cautionary tale. Even the most innovative tech can flop if it forgets the human factor, and its legacy still haunts the world of virtual reality design today. Number 4. The Apple Newton arrived in 1993 as a bold vision for the future, a pocket-sized device that could read your handwriting, organize your life, and even send faxes on the go. At $700, the Newton Message Pad was pitched as the world's first true personal digital assistant, promising to turn scribbles into digital notes with its handwriting recognition engine. That promise quickly unraveled. Early users and reviewers at Macworld found the device's optical character recognition unreliable, with error rates so high that even a simple word like lunch might morph into nonsense. The Newton's struggles became pop culture fodder, immortalized in a 1994 episode of The Simpsons, where a note meant to say "beat up Martin" became "eat up Martha," a joke that would haunt Apple for years. Despite selling around 300,000 units, the Newton never overcame its technical hurdles or its reputation for garbled notes. Apple pulled the plug in 1998 with an internal memo citing persistent software flaws and a lack of developer support. Yet the Newton's DNA didn't vanish. Its interface concepts and mobile-first thinking laid the groundwork for the iPhone and iPad decades later. The Newton story is a reminder that being first isn't enough if the core technology lags behind the vision, and that even a flop can plant seeds for the next era of innovation. Coming to the top 3, Crystal Pepsi promised to turn the cola world upside down with a look that screamed purity, but a taste that whispered, "just more Pepsi." When it hit shelves nationwide in 1993, the clear soda seemed like a stroke of genius. Pepsi poured millions into a national television blitz, and Van Halen's "Right Now" blared as bottles sparkled in slow motion. The pitch was all the classic flavor, none of the caramel color. Early sales hit $474 million in just a few months as curious shoppers snapped up the see-through cans and bottles. But the novelty wore off fast. The clear liquid clashed with the familiar cola taste, leaving many drinkers puzzled or disappointed. Critics called it a marketing gimmick, and Saturday Night Live's Crystal Gravy spoof cemented its place in pop culture infamy. By mid-1994, Crystal Pepsi vanished from stores, leaving behind a hefty advertising bill and a lesson in sensory mismatch. For all its hype, the drink's legacy lives on as both a cautionary tale and a cult favorite, revived only in limited runs for nostalgia's sake. Crystal Pepsi did not just fail, it became the punchline for an era obsessed with novelty, but not always with flavor. In second place, McDonald's Arch Deluxe stands as a fast food experiment that burned through more than $100 million in marketing, only to leave barely a trace on the menu. The 1996 rollout was nothing short of a spectacle, with primetime commercials, glossy print ads, and even a Super Bowl spot, all pitching a burger for grown-ups with peppered bacon, a fancy potato bun, and a signature Dijon mustard sauce. The company's annual report shows a national campaign budget topping $100 million, the largest in its history at the time. But the premium pitch misfired. Core customers, used to value meals and family fare, balked at the higher price and unfamiliar flavors. Consumer testing data flagged early warning signs. Focus groups found the taste divisive, and surveys revealed that fewer than 1% of McDonald's burger sales came from the Arch Deluxe even at its peak. By 1998, the burger was quietly pulled from stores, and the entire campaign became a textbook case of brand misalignment. The Arch Deluxe failure is still dissected in business schools for one reason. It shows how even a global giant can lose its way when it forgets who its real audience is. And finally, in first place, Reynolds Premiere stands as the most costly and consequential product flop of the era, a cautionary tale that echoes through boardrooms and regulatory hearings to this day. Launched with a fanfare of scientific promise in the late 1980s and rolled out nationally by 1990, Premiere was billed as a smokeless, clean cigarette designed to satisfy growing public health concerns. The idea was radical, tobacco-heated, not burned, to deliver nicotine and flavor with less tar and virtually no ash. Reynolds poured $325 million into research, manufacturing, and a campaign that framed Premiere as the future of smoking. But the reality was far less palatable. Smokers complained about a harsh chemical taste and an unsatisfying draw, while health advocates dismissed the product as a marketing ploy that sidestepped the real dangers of tobacco. Consumer acceptance in test markets hovered at just 0.2% of weekly purchases, according to Nielsen data, with taste test ratings averaging barely above 2 stars out of 5. The FDA quickly stepped in, classifying Premiere as a cigarette-type product and triggering the first wave of regulatory scrutiny for so-called reduced-risk tobacco. State attorneys general in New York, California, and Illinois filed suits alleging deceptive marketing and false health claims, forcing R.J. Reynolds to halt advertising and offer refunds. By mid-1991, Premiere was off the shelves, leaving behind warehouses of unsold product and a financial crater that industry analysts still cite as a billion-dollar mistake. The aftermath extended far beyond the balance sheet. Internal postmortems revealed that the company had bet on a consumer shift that never materialized, underestimating both the public's skepticism and the tightening regulatory climate. SEC filings from the period detail an $800 million write-off, with some retrospectives placing the total loss closer to $1 billion once legal settlements and lost market share are counted. In the end, Premiere's story is not just about a failed cigarette. It is about the perils of launching a product out of sync with both consumer sentiment and the regulatory tide. For every business school case study, Premiere remains the definitive lesson, a reminder that even the boldest innovation can backfire spectacularly if it misreads the world it hopes to change. Across all 12 failures, one lesson stands out: innovation alone never guarantees success. Even the boldest ideas collapse when they outpace what people actually want or understand. Today, the gap between invention and adoption is just as risky and just as fascinating. In business, knowing your audience beats being first every time. Thanks for watching. What is your favorite infamous flop? Let us know below.